Hey everybody, and of course, welcome back to another episode of Sports Plug with Xavier and Ishmael. If you are on Facebook, please make sure you like and share this broadcast. If you are on Twitter, please make sure you follow at X_Williams81. And if you are on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe to the Sports Plug and hit that notification bell, bing, so you can get our broadcast in the future as well. Well, you guys know what you're here for. Tuesday morning, the NFL Week 14 recap. Ish and I in the building for that, and we usually start off with Thursday night football, but this morning, we're going to go ahead and start off with the great epic Monday night football game that we just watched about 12 hours ago. And I honestly probably could have watched another 12 more hours of that game. That's how great that game was. We knew going into that game it was going to be a rushing attack type of game. And it was that type of game leading into the fourth quarter. At one point in time, they had 8 combined rushing touchdowns before they had a passing touchdown between Baker and Lamar. So again, that just goes to show you the running game was on point for both teams. The hot topic, of course, that is being talked about amongst the sports world with everybody besides this game is the Lamar Jackson exit to the locker room and then come out of nowhere like if he was on WWE or something and come back out and lead the Ravens out to a not just a game-winning drive, but also just a gutsy drive from Lamar Jackson, showing people that he can do it not just with his legs, but also with his arm. And that's something that I've always wanted him to do since day one is sit your butt in the pocket, make sound throws, and win the game with your arm that you want to be if you want people to take you seriously as a quarterback, that's what I want to see from Lamar Jackson. So to be able to see him do that in crunch time, I'm very proud of him for that. And we're also not going to leave some praise. I'm not going to leave the praise out to Baker Mayfield as well, because Baker put on a hell of a performance. Because let's remember, these two guys came out in the same draft class, and they are going to forever get compared to one another until their career is over with. So for Baker and Lamar to put on the type of show that they did, I feel like if you're a GM that picked both guys, you feel happy about the decision that you made for your teams.
I mean, yeah, first and foremost, that's probably one of the greatest Monday Night Football games ever played. And I'm not sad that my team that I picked lost, because honestly, that was just a great game, and there's no better way to lose the game, I mean, in this situation, than to go down, answer back, take the lead, and then have them just have a great drive to end the game. But like you said, Baker Mayfield, hats off to Baker Mayfield. Let me just say that first and foremost. I still have the Browns as the best of the rest. I think that running attack proved that they can do it. I think that Baker Mayfield proved that he is somebody that can go down when the game is on the line and make some plays. Last night was big for him. So the Browns, I'm still saying they're the best of the rest. They're up there in that conversation. Unfortunately, they just can't get past their boogeyman in the Ravens, and we'll see if they can get past their other boogeyman, the Steelers, in the last week of the season. With Lamar Jackson, though, can we calm this hype down? All right. Yes, he came out of the locker room. He did it with his arm. Sure. The pass to Hollywood Brown, he had to hit the pass, so I'll give him credit for that. But let's not act like he threw a great ball against a tightly covered receiver. Like, it was a wide open guy.
Wide open after the defender fell. Yes. I mean, again, we're trying to make sure that we get everything encapsulated on what happened, because there are a lot of emotions going on. And when you pull back the emotions, you do see that, yes, it was a basic throw. But I will say this, because of his running ability, that's what sucked in the defense to make the defense, that cornerback come and try to stop Lamar Jackson's progress to try to get the first down. And that's why Hollywood was wide open, besides the other safety falling down as well.
Yeah, but I will say this as well. Up until the last 2 drives that Lamar Jackson had, I mean, he didn't have very many passing yards. So while he did finish the game with his arm, up until that point, they had just been doing what they've always done, which is run the ball. So the concern is still there for the Ravens as far as you guys still are not doing what you need to do to win playoff games by throwing the ball. Lamar Jackson, I'll give him all the credit in the world. Like, he's just such an amazing athlete that it doesn't matter what you do against him, he's going to find a way to run the ball against you. Fair enough. The problem is going to be when you face some of these better teams, because let's be honest, the Browns, while they're up and coming, they're not up in the top echelon with the Bills, the Steelers. That's right, I said the Bills, and the Chiefs. I think those are the top three teams right now in the AFC. And if he's not able to pass the ball, I don't think he beats those three teams. So while this is it was great for the Ravens, keeps them in the playoff hunt, makes them look a little bit more dangerous. At the same time, I still have the same concern I had before this game, right? So,
no, I definitely understand. And again, going into this game, you know, I talked to you about being in a lot of, unfortunately, sports group chats that I see a lot of people hold their emotions when it comes to talking about Lamar. A lot of people like to say, you don't like Lamar because he's black. You don't like Lamar because he's this. You don't like Lamar because he's that. And at the end of the day, when I have people tell me that, it's very stupid to hear that because I'm black. So it's not that I don't like Lamar because he's black. It's if you, as Lamar Jackson, he wanted to come in and be a quarterback, period, right? So if you are a quarterback, we are going to judge you as a quarterback, like Deshaun Watson, like Patrick Mahomes, like the guy he just faced last night, like a Baker Mayfield. Okay, So with that being said, we know you can run the ball, Lamar Jackson. You feel me? Like we know that. That's not. We never said that you can't do that. We need to make sure that you are being consistent in the passing game, which will allow so much more things for you to do when you're able to put the ball on the numbers. You can run even more, but again, it's not about running. It's about effective running, like Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson can run all around the field if he wants to, but he does it when it needs to be done to get a first down, to move to get himself out of a situation, as in a 3rd and 6, get that first down, keep the chains moving, and he doesn't rely on that from first quarter to the fourth quarter. That is my point. But like you said, just to recap everything that we said, Lamar Jackson is a great athlete, a hell of an athlete, right? And his athletic ability can get him out of things that other quarterbacks cannot get themselves out of. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty, and I have the stats, Lamar Jackson was 11 for 17 last night, 163 yards, 1 passing touchdown. Baker Mayfield 28 for 47, 343, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Baker did what he did. Lamar did what he did. So, again, it's all about what you want for your team. You know, if you don't mind that type of style Lamar Jackson brings, then, hey, go with him. If you want, a legit pocket style type of quarterback that's a little bit mobile, you can go with Baker. So, then in the next 3 to 5 years, we'll see more from both of these quarterbacks and see what happens when it comes to their development and see who really is the best quarterback out of that draft class.
Yep. So, gotta wait and see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to the Thursday night football game, Patriots and Rams. Sorry about that. Like I said, Patriots and Rams. This game went pretty much the way that we thought it was going to go. Rams won this game, but didn't go the way that we kind of expected with the way that the Patriots had their performance against the LA Chargers the week prior. We kind of thought that the Patriots might come in with a little bit of moxie and whatnot moving into that game. But I mean, again, show up a little bit, damn. But hey, you're playing a really good LA Rams defense, who I've said for weeks now,
up there the best defense in the league.
I'm just saying, watch out for the NFC Championship game that I could see them still participating in. You can make that face all you want to. I ain't say win. I'm just saying participate, because I've said this for weeks now. This LA Rams team on both sides of the ball are forming together greatly and perfectly at this time, moving into the playoffs. And I would not be surprised at all if we see the Rams in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I agree. They could definitely make it to the NFC Championship game. I think the problem on the NFC side is when you look at those teams that are up there in the conversation on the NFC side, all of them have a very obvious weakness, right? Like all of them have some sort of issue. Now on the AFC side, up until last week, I would say it looked like the top teams in the AFC didn't really have a glaring weakness. So talking about the Chiefs, the Steelers, and the Bills, although now the Steelers weakness is starting to show, and we'll get into that later into the show. But yeah, the Steelers are starting to have some very obvious problems. The Bills, I would argue, may have taken over that number 2 spot. And they don't really have a weakness per se. They just kind of beat themselves at times. And then the Chiefs, I don't really think the Chiefs have a glaring weakness. So the NFC is definitely wide open at the top, and I think the Rams are in that discussion. Can they win the NFC? Yes, I think they can, but I think a lot of that rides on, will Cam Akers continue to perform the way he's performing? Jared Goff, is he going to continue to be consistent like he's been, the past couple of weeks? And then that defense, if that defense just continues, I mean, somebody's got to figure out how to stop Aaron Donald. I know it's easier said than done. And
contain. It ain't going to be no stopping.
Well, somebody got to do something.
Now, what I'll say with the Rams with this type of offense that they have with this season is a lot different than their Super Bowl run, what they had with Todd Gurley being the main back. They are running back by committee. Even though Cam Akers is getting a lot of the carries as of this moment, he was hurt throughout this season, and he's just now being able to be 100% healthy, moving into this is the right time to be healthy, moving to the playoffs. They want everybody to be back 100%. So he did miss about 4 games in this regular season. Now he's able to get his legs up under him, moving into the playoffs. And with the Rams using their running back committee, it doesn't give all the pressure to Cam Akers having to tote the rock for 25, 30 carries like they did for Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
All right, check out the comments right quick. Shout out to Justice Stabler, a.k.a. Bama. He said, Baker is still everything they said Lamar was going to be, which is trash. Those running backs making him what he is after one. What he is after one. Leave, he'll decline back to where he was before. Justin, I think you might need to change the spin a little bit, but I know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I think the running backs are. They do make Baker Mayfield. I think they make that offense really, to be completely honest. I've said it week in and week out. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are what make that offense go. And even last night, the pass to Kareem Hunt is what gave them that go-ahead late before Lamar Jackson drove the Ravens down. I think it'll continue that way.
Shout out to Lorenzo Guy. He says, I'm just here for the merch. Don't worry about it, Lorenzo. We got you. The merch coming soon. Merch coming soon, I promise.
Merch dropping soon.
Yes, sir. All right, Cowboys versus Bengals. Cowboys, of course, won that game, took care of business. This was, again, supposed to be, or it was the Andy Dalton return to Cincinnati. Again, I wanted it to be a little bit better of a game with Joe Burrow being there in Cincinnati. Unfortunately, we weren't able to see him play. But other than the Cowboys win, I mean, did we really see anything that we, expected to see in this game?
No. The Cowboys did what they were supposed to do. The Bengals don't have Joe Burrow right now. And the Bengals are still a team that they're building. They're building. We all know that. Cowboys fans, there's nothing to be happy about. And Jerry Jones, you got moved out of Sunday Night Football because nobody wants to watch y'all play. And I watched a little bit.
And thank God it happened too.
Yeah, I'm happy. So onward. Nobody cares about them.
I honestly feel the exact same way, so we're going to go ahead and move on with the Cowgirls. Also, Justin Saber said not to mention a running back led in receiving.
Yep.
And also Javier says Mayfield is just an upgraded version of Manziel, but still trash. I really don't agree with that.
You don't agree with that? I kind of agree. I kind of agree with that.
I think, I'd be honest with you, everybody. I think y'all are giving Baker. I'm not Baker. I think y'all giving Johnny Football a little too much credit. Because y'all still, it's just the same way with Carson Wentz. A lot of y'all living off of that 1 year high that y'all saw what he did against Alabama when he was at A&M. And y'all keep on remembering that in y'all's head. And it just keeps winding back in y'all's head. And y'all want to base Johnny Football off of that 1 year. Please relax.
No.
Ain't no, it's yes.
No.
All right. Same thing with Carson Wentz, 2017. Everybody want to talk about 2017 Carson Wentz. Nobody cares.
It's not the same. He performed. Right. It's just he had the off-field issues. I would argue, if he didn't have the off-field issues, you would still see Johnny Manziel in the NFL right now.
So you're talking about the same Johnny Football that put up the middle finger when he was playing with Cleveland during the game on Monday Night Football.
That was
okay.
Off the field issue. It's not really a performance.
That was on the field though.
But it wasn't a performance.
Was it inside or outside though? Oh, okay. We're just gonna move along. We're gonna move along to a game that was definitely outside, the Texans and the Bears. Ish, we'll go ahead and let you start it because you picked the Texans, and from what I felt and we talked about in the pre-show, everything came to fruition of what I thought was gonna happen. So I'll go ahead and let you explain.
The defense, their defense did it for them, really. I mean, there wasn't much to be said from the Bears offense, although I'm not going to hold them. Mitchell Trubisky, you played an all right game. The big run to start the game, I think, kind of set the tone. And the Bears were just all over Deshaun Watson. The offensive line was poor from the Texans. Definitely not a team that showed up ready to play, and they were dealt with pretty handily by the Bears in that defense. I mean, there's nothing really you can say from that. The defense just came ready to play, and they just shut them down. That's all it was.
Khalil Mack had him a hell of a day. I mean, it's everything that I expected what the Bears were going to do. It had nothing to do with Deshaun Watson not being able to perform. It just had everything to do with Deshaun Watson not being able to have the pieces around him to compete against that defense. That's what it had. That's what I saw. And we almost, unfortunately, saw Deshaun Watson might have missed the rest of the season with a type of tackle that he got, and it looked like at one point in time it might have set Watson out for at least that game. So shout out to also Ryan Clark that put out a nice little tweet praying for Deshaun Watson's health and safety every game going into a game, because that's pretty much how it is. I mean, seriously, that's pretty much how it is when it comes to watching Deshaun Watson play for the Texans. I want to see this guy play for 10, 15 years in the NFL. But if he keeps on taking these types of hits, we don't know if we're going to ever be able to see how great Watson really can be when he leaves Houston.
Dude, he was number 2. I believe he might still be number 2.
He probably is. Passing yards, yeah.
Passing yards in the league with this offense, with this offensive line. Like, think about it. And I will still hold this. When Dabo Swinney said that was the Michael Jordan coming out, everybody keeps making the comments like, oh, he's supposed to be the Michael Jordan. He's supposed to be the Michael Jordan. Look at the organization that he went to. Houston has been notorious for killing great players' careers. They did it to Andre Johnson. They did it to J.J. Watt. They're doing it to Deshaun Watson. And
Arian Foster.
Everybody else. Arian Foster. It doesn't matter who you are. If you come play for the Texans.
Hey, almost got Tyrann Mathieu. Tyrann Mathieu got up out of there.
Oh, he got up out of it. Yeah, he saw the writing on the wall. He was like, no, y'all not going to get me.
Oh, yeah. Let's get back to the comments right quick. Javier says trade JJ, Fuller, and DJ to get picks and rebuild. I know it sounds easier said than done to just trade anybody, but it's not. It don't work like that. This isn't Madden. You know, I know some of y'all feel like you can just get whoever y'all want because of fantasy or Madden or whatever, but it just doesn't work like that. The Texans are in a very, very, very bad place when it comes to moving forward for the future.
Well, I would say this: they don't have the leverage, right? So
that's the main thing too. If this was J.J. Watt 4 years ago, you'd be able to get what you want to get.
You get a first round pick. You're not getting a first round pick for J.J. Watt. You're probably not even getting a second. Because of his injury history. You're definitely not getting a first round pick for Will Fuller.
No.
You're not getting one for DJ. So all those players, yeah, you might get some picks, but you're not getting the kind of picks you need to rebuild this team. You're just going to have a bunch of younger guys in the mix with nobody. And I think with Deshaun Watson being at the level that he's at, they need to get some immediate help.
Yeah.
Now. Like
seriously.
They don't need that they're developing. If that's the case, then trade Deshaun Watson as well.
I agree. Just start over and just same thing with the Rockets. I mean, same way. And I'm not trying to get into basketball, but if you're going to go ahead and start over, get rid of Harden, get rid of Westbrook, and start all over. All right. Well. Yes, sir. All right. So going back to Justin with the Cowboys, he said the Cowboys defense still don't have an identity, and it's clear Jerry and Steven don't care about winning as long as revenue is there. And this coming from a Cowboys fan. Yes, I definitely know that, Bama. I say that every day. Lorenzo Guy said, we don't claim Carson. Nick Foles over Wentz. He also says Jalen Hurts over Wentz.
Wow.
So,
okay. We want to talk
all
about
right,
that.
we will talk about that another time. All right, Vikings and Buccaneers. This was a really good playoff implication type of game. We talked about this in the pre-show. The Buccaneers went ahead and won this game and pretty soundly. And from what I've seen in this game, it looks like they're gearing up for a playoff run. Their last 3 games are very favorable to be able to make it into the playoffs. And depending on who they play in that first round, we have to wait and see what Thomas Brady and the Buccaneers are able to do.
I mean, yeah, unfortunately, they won and they beat them. I mean, it started off nice for the Vikings, and then it just went all downhill from there.
No fools are up 6-0. Relax.
Hey, man, it started off nice. They had a couple stops. They had a couple of defensive stops. I mean, they did all right at first, and then, like I said, it went downhill from there. Yeah, I mean, Tom Brady, you say gearing up. I think that really with these weapons that they have over there in Tampa, they've got a really good defense. Really, it's just gelling on offense, and once everybody gets kind of together, I think that it's hard to pick against them when they have those kind of weapons with Tom Brady. So you're hoping that they just kind of figure it out, and then when they get into the playoffs, they're able to make things shake and win a couple of games. I don't know how that's going to work though. Obviously, the Saints had some issues. The Packers are clearly the top team right now, I believe. I think the Bucs can beat the Packers. So I would even say right now, with the Bucs looking how they're looking, you might just have to say they're up there as favorites to win the NFC, potentially.
I don't know about winning the NFC just yet. Let's pump the brakes just a little bit. But I will say, shout out to Brady getting Scotty Miller back involved in the mix of the offense, because I do remember seeing a couple of Tampa Bay fans a little upset that they are forcing AB to get reps and not putting people like Scotty Miller in position to succeed.
Yeah, that's their Julian Edelman right there.
Real talk. No, seriously, it really is. And for them to be able to get Scotty back involved, look, AB gonna have to get in where he fit in. AB is a hell of a talent. He can play he can play the slot, he can play outside, he can play running back if he needed to, right? Don't worry about AB. AB gonna be fine. You got to get guys like a Scotty Miller involved to win. It is 3rd down and 6 move in the 4th quarter in a crucial playoff game. Tom Brady and Scotty needs to be on the same page so they can connect and make a crucial first down. I feel like that type of performance that they had on Sunday helps out tremendously moving forward with the type of trust that Tom Brady is instilling in Scotty Miller.
Let me just say this. I think that they need to take the same approach that the Chiefs take. And I'm not saying that because the Chiefs are my team. I'm saying that because the Chiefs have continuously shown that it doesn't matter who you are. Last year, they brought in LaShawn McCoy. You saw LaShawn McCoy did not get to play a lot. They've brought in Le'Veon Bell. You've been complaining ever since they got him. Like,
I ain't complain. I ain't complain. Go use them. That's what I'm saying. Use them.
No. Don't risk the chemistry of your offense just to get a big name in there. And I feel like that's what Tampa Bay did when they first got AB. And I think they're starting to move away from that because they're like, yo, we had something nice going before he stepped in. We don't have to force him in. Like, let's just let him find his spot. And then when he finds his spot, he gets in where he fit in, like you said. But don't force it in there. I think Kansas City does a great job of doing that. And I think that if Tampa Bay takes that role, you'll see them slowly, get a little bit better on their offensive side or back to where they were before they started jamming AB down everybody's throat.
I respect where you're coming from. I could definitely agree with you on that. Gronk also got him a touchdown in. So Gronk, of course, is definitely being used the right way. He got him a touchdown in the red zone. That's where Gronk, of course, reigns supreme. Yep. So, we just have to wait and see. They play the Lions next week, and they should take care of business there, and we just have to wait and see what happens with the Buccaneers. With the Vikings, it looks like this season's pretty much over for them. After that loss, I'm pretty sure that the season's pretty much over.
It's going to be kind of hard to get into playoffs after that.
Oh, yeah. All right, moving along, Cardinals versus Giants. This game, again, went the way that everybody pretty much thought it was going to go. I apologize. Any takeaway we can take from this game moving forward? Are the Cardinals? Is this a game that the Cardinals can build off of? and try to, of course, make that push for the playoffs to get that seventh seed, or are the Cardinals just a little too late on the outside looking in?
I think that the Cardinals could potentially do it. Let me look at their remaining schedule real quick, because I do think that there's a potential that they could make it in. Because right now they're sitting at the seventh seed, so they're in as of today. But with their remaining schedule, I believe they got the Eagles, which that's not just a given win now.
Not anymore.
Perform this week.
Yep, and we'll talk about them real soon.
The 49ers always play them really tough. Like we've been saying, Kyle Shanahan always gets his guys up ready to play. And then you end with the Rams, which is not an easy game. So there's a chance they can make it to the playoffs, but they're going to have to get results. Probably, I would say 2 out of the last 3 games. So they're going to definitely have to beat the Eagles and the 49ers, or find a way to beat the Rams if they lose to one of the other guys, to really have that shot to get in. The Vikings are just sitting behind them, and so are the Bears, both sitting at 6 and 7. So, I mean, if the Vikings or the Bears are able to find a way to win some of their games, which, looking at the Vikings' remaining schedule, they've got the Bears. So the Vikings or the Bears are going to beat you're going to get a loss there. So that helps you if you're the Cardinals. And then they got the Saints and the Lions. So same thing for the Vikings. It's not that easy, right? You got to beat the Bears, who you're rivaling to get into the playoffs, and then find a way to beat the Saints or the Lions. So, I mean, it's going to come down to the last week, I believe, in the NFC for that last playoff spot. If I'm the Cardinals, I got to win 2 of these last 3.
And, of course, if you are watching live, we will put up the playoff race right before this show is over with, so everybody can know the standings for both NFC and AFC, so please just stay tuned with us. Justin also says Cardinals will be on the outside looking in because they're asking Buda Baker, to do too much on defense with no real help. Let's also remember on that defensive side, they do have Isaiah Simmons, who I expected for him to make a little bit more of a splash his rookie year just because of his athletic ability that he was able to bring from Clemson to Arizona. He has not made a stamp on his defense the way that Buda Baker has. Of course, he got that big contract going into the season, but I was waiting for this Cardinals defense to come around. This is a great performance. He gave us 7 points. The Giants, the offense is still hobbly right now, so I wouldn't really even count this as a good defensive effort until they play the Rams, and until they play somebody that we can say, man, that's a good effort. But I'm gonna need to see more from the Cardinals defense before we take them seriously. We know their offense is great; it's world class. Fitzgerald, Hopkins, Kyler Murray, but we need their defense to come around if we want to take them seriously as making it to the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I agree. The Eagles next week, I think that's going to be a good test with the way that they got their quarterback playing.
I definitely agree, sir. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Titans took care of the Pussycats, so we like to call the Jaguars, and Derrick Henry ran wild as always. Just a caveat on this show. Just a caveat on this game. I apologize. Derrick Henry has now reached his 4th game with 200 yards rushing and also 2 touchdowns. He has now passed every running back in NFL history that has had those stats, from Barry Sanders, LT, and also I apologize, Jim Brown. I apologize.
Yeah, Jim Brown.
I know it's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't get it out. But other than that, with that win, it most likely solidifies that the Titans should win the AFC South for the first time in about 20 years now. And as a Titans fan, I'm very happy and pleased that we are doing what I set out for us to do this season, as in win a division, secure a home playoff game, and win 10 games. We need one more win to win 10 games this season. And for people in the rest of the league to take us seriously as a title contending type of team. At the moment, we are behind the Bills. We are behind of the other teams besides the Steelers and the Chiefs in the AFC. So moving forward, what I would like to see, because I know this team will compete against anybody in the playoffs, I would like to see the defense to get a little bit sharper on the defensive side of the ball moving forward. Adoree Jackson hasn't played one snap this whole season. I'm worried about him moving into the playoffs if he even does get to show up this season, because I wouldn't be surprised if he is a liability.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you haven't played literally all season long and they just throw you out there at the highest type of competition, I just it's very hard for you to get into a rhythm when you're not ready.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just very worried to see what's going to happen moving forward with guys coming back from the IR like an Adoree Jackson with Tennessee Titans.
I mean, the Oilers, like we said, in this game, they did what they were supposed to do. This was more so a statement in the AFC about what their intentions are going into the playoffs, because I do believe they're going to win the AFC South. However, I think that they are still behind some of these other teams, like you mentioned, the Bills. I believe they're still behind the Browns. I wouldn't even put them above the Browns at the moment. Because that defense is just, they showed up against the Jaguars. And let me say this. Let's not discount what they did against the Jaguars. Because the Jaguars, if you remember, have been.
We talked about it in the pre-show.
Past couple of weeks.
They have been playing
really close. They've been playing really well against playoff teams. Because like we're looking at, I'm talking about the Vikings. We're looking at some of these other teams that they're playing and keeping it close. And these are playoff teams. These are not just walkovers. So for them to hold the Jags to 10 points, that is a statement in a way, but it's still not against one of the better teams in the AFC. So. We got to wait and see how this defense does against some of these better teams. But it was a good win, a good semi-statement from the Oilers. But again, that man, I'm just going to hold to it. I am always terrified of the Oilers because of that man in the backfield. And if you can't stop him, you can't win games against them. And it just proved again today. And I think going into playoffs, teams got to be ready to stop that.
I will say this. If the playoffs started today, the Tennessee Titans would be playing the Cleveland Browns in Nashville. So run it back. That's just all I had to say about that. I ain't worried about I'm not worried about no Browns. I ain't worried about no Browns. Run it back.
I don't think you want
to run it back.
Because they're going to run it down.
Run it back.
All right.
That's how much faith I got. Run it back, son. All right. Speaking of people running it back in Miami, Kansas City Chiefs went ahead and ran it back in Miami and pulled off a nice close win. The Dolphins kept it close. They almost pulled it off.
Kept it close. Go ahead and apologize for my Chiefs.
I ain't apologize for shit. Ain't apologize for shit. Anyways, like I said, the Dolphins should have won this game. Let it go a little bit, and the Chiefs ended up winning this game. Now, I will say this. You said earlier the Chiefs don't have a weakness. I want to be the first one to say that they do.
What's their weakness?
Playing against the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, my goodness. Sure, I guess that's
the Las Vegas Raiders and Derek Carr.
I don't know if that's a weakness as much as that's just like a bad matchup or something. Like,
that's what it is?
The Raiders just play different against the Chiefs. And the evidence is in the results from the Raiders. Like, they don't perform the same way they do against the Chiefs, against everyone else. Like, they go against the Falcons the next week after they play the Chiefs in a really close game and get blown out. They play against other playoff teams, the Colts, and you lose. So, come on, man. The Raiders, it's just a bad matchup. I think they just get up to play the Chiefs.
No, I definitely respect that, and I agree as well. I don't know what it is about the Raiders when they play everybody else, but when they play the Chiefs, they act like they want to be a real team. But with the Chiefs, I will say this. Looks like they're ready for the playoffs. They've been ready for the playoffs maybe since week 2. But I will say this. No, I will say this. Mm-hmm. One thing I do know about football, I watch football a long time now. I've been watching football a long, long, long time. Everything might seem all nice and good now. Injuries happen.
Oh,
freak things happen. All right.
I agree.
So this Maserati, this Lambo, this Ferrari, it might look nice, but when that mug in the shop,
Yeah, you can
oh,
get a
we're gonna
flat
see. We're
tire
gonna
real
see
quick.
how that Ferrari gonna ride. All right. So it's all good now. We gonna wait and see when some stuff happen in the playoffs. We're gonna see how y'all react. That's what I want to see from the Chiefs.
I think the Chiefs. Okay, let me just say this.
I'm listening.
Talking about that, the beginning of this game was perfect for that because they had to respond to adversity. Patrick
Two
Mahomes,
interceptions in the first half.
he had a sack for 30-yard loss. I mean, the Dolphins definitely came out and were trying to put it up on them, and the Chiefs just they responded to adversity. And I think that they are the kind of team that they can respond to adversity. They are built to respond to adversity, and we saw it in this game. And I think this only helps to prove the point moving forward that even in the playoffs, it don't matter. Remember last year, Patrick Mahomes led a couple fourth quarter comebacks because
He had three in the playoffs.
this team does not get shaken when they're behind. They're ready and they respond. And I am ready for any and every challenger that is going to step to the Chiefs this year because it looks like they're in prime form. Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill are doing their thing, and that defense has been playing a lot better than they were even last year, I believe.
And at the moment, speaking of Travis Kelce, he is leading the NFL in reception yards, and that's not by tight ends. That is by everybody, receivers and tight ends included. And that is something that if I am Travis Kelce, you go ahead and take this year, go to the general manager's office, and you make sure that you get everything that you're paid for, that you deserve. Because
You're just trying to cause some problems.
I ain't trying to cause nothing. I'm just saying, look, you want to get paid what you're worth. Am I right? Am I wrong? I'm just, look, you can win Super Bowls all you want to. I'm just saying, to make sure that you get taken care of. I'm just, look, if you out, because you don't want to look back 5, 7, 8 years from now and be like, man, like I was the best tight end of maybe ever, and I didn't get compensated the way I should have.
And I got four Super Bowl rings.
We don't know about this one right now, just one. We'll wait and see how many he'll have.
We'll wait and
see. We'll wait and see. All right, Broncos versus Panthers. Broncos took care of business against the Panthers, and shout out to me because, like I said, every time I don't pick the Panthers, they lose, and every time I do pick them, every time I don't pick them, they win. Wait, hold up, I messed that up. Every time I pick them, they lose. Every time I don't pick them, they win. There we go. So the Broncos took care of business again against the Panthers. Is there anything we going to take out of this game? Because both teams really, let's be real, not playing for anything. Both teams are pretty much in the back of the pack. Panthers aren't going to the playoffs. The Broncos aren't going either. But is there anything that both these teams can build off of this game?
I mean, for this season, no. But let me just say, all the people that have been with X the past couple of weeks, where he's been talking about John Elway and how he needs to get up out of there, and they don't do anything with quarterbacks. Let me just say, I don't know this for a fact, but I believe my man Drew Lock has been he's been tuning into the show and checking out a couple of episodes and X talking all that mess.
No, he tuned in. No. He tuned in. He saw what I did on the pre-show saying that I'm rooting for Drew Lock to do his Thug Thizzle. You must have forgot about that. Don't be out here trying to change my words, sir. Because if you want to go watch the pre-show, you can definitely see that I shout out to Drew Lock because he was going to put on a performance, and he did.
My man Drew put on his backpack. For all you out there that were saying John Elway doesn't know how to pick those quarterbacks, or maybe we should move on from Drew Lock, just came out and threw 4 touchdowns against the defense.
Hold up. Drew Lock, one performance against the Panthers does not erase everything that John Elway has done. No, we're not going to do that.
I'm not saying it erases everything. What I'm saying is a lot of talk has been made about maybe we should move on from Drew Lock. Drew Lock is just trying to show people, one, he's been injured. There's been a lot of injuries. There's been a lot of stuff going on that he hasn't been able to show what he can do. So he came out this week, decided to put on a performance. Now we're waiting to see, is he going to do that moving forward? Because in a division where you have Derek Carr, you have Justin Herbert now, you definitely got that guy, Patrick Mahomes. You can't be the Denver Broncos and not have a quarterback there that can match up with all of those guys. So Drew Lock, he's got to start showing out, or else he won't have long in Denver, and the calls for Elway will continue.
No, I agree, but Drew Lock has performed for the most part, when he's on the field healthy, he's been performing. We're not worried about him. It's just now bring all the pieces together. You have Jared Judy, you got Cortland Sutton. Well, I mean, any wide receiver. Look, I'm pretty sure. What's his name? God dang it, from Cowboys.
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb. I'm pretty sure CeeDee Lamb isn't too happy right now. It's just one of those things where when you don't, as a wide receiver, when you don't have a quarterback consistently throwing you the ball the way you want to, any wide receiver is going to be upset.
Well, I mean, we'll have to wait and see how that situation.
Come on now. I think John Elway would be gone before Drew Lock will.
Oh, really? I don't think that.
Unfortunately,
I think Drew Lock again, and then keep Elway doing his thing.
We'll see. Speaking of teams that's going to get rid of their quarterback real soon after this season, the New York whatever you football team Jets that you call them.
Let's move past.
Yeah, let's definitely go ahead and do that because they ain't not really to talk about. Honestly, it really isn't. And Russell Wilson did his his chefing of course and won 43.
Yeah, I mean,
and
they're losing on purpose at this point. They losing to get Trevor Lawrence. Let's just move past.
But you know what though? Honestly, before we move on to the next game, you know what's really disappointing? We know they're going to, of course, do what they're doing, but you can't even at least let the player feel a W. You can't even let these fools get one W the whole year. Y'all gonna let these boys go 0-16 like the Lions did?
Yes, that's what, dude. Last week was their week when they were leading against the Raiders, and then they scapegoated Greg Williams and fired him.
Greg Williams trash. First of all, he should Bounty Gate looking ass. He trash.
They scapegoated him and fired him to make it seem like they didn't decide on the sideline that they were all going to throw that game. Because let's be honest, the head coach has his headset on. Defensive coordinator has his headset on. Everybody can hear the plays that are being called. This man calls an all-out blitz as the head coach. You were just sitting there like, oh yeah, I like that call. And then they scored a touchdown, and now you acting like, I don't know why he called it all-out blitz. We're going to get rid of him because why he make that call? Like, no.
Look. First of all, the New York Jets are the greatest organization because they hired Adam Gase, who did such a great job in Miami. So they had to go ahead and bring his talent over to New York. And when he was at his press conference, obviously Adam Gase was so happy and excited to be the head coach of the New York Jets that his eyeballs made more news than his actual performance as a coach on the field. Okay? So everything that the New York Jets are getting right now, they deserve. All right, then. So we're going to go ahead and move on to another team that deserves everything that they get, and that's the Las Vegas Raiders. The Colts and the Raiders, of course, played over the weekend. And like we talked about in the pre-show, I didn't know which team was going to show up. I expected the Colts to show up more than the Raiders, which they did. But with the Raiders, let's talk more about the Raiders right quick. The Raiders have lost last 3 of their 4 games after starting 6-3 on the season.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a very enthusiastic type of season for the Raiders because they thought that, maybe we can make some noise in the AFC. It started off hot, it's 6-3. You got people jumping on the bandwagon, but again, losing the last 3 of the last 4 right now at the moment, you are 7-6 on the outside looking in of the playoffs. And it just seems like this was it's now coming down to this is being a good year, a good building year to build into next year. And the questions for the Raiders moving forward is, do we stick with Derek Carr or do we look elsewhere?
All's not lost for the Raiders, actually. I think that the Raiders could still find a way to sneak in because they've got a decent schedule the last 3 games. They got the Chargers, then they got the Dolphins, and then they finished the season off with the Broncos, who we were just talking about with Drew Lock. I definitely expect them to win the Thursday night game this week, actually, against the Chargers. I think that they should win that game. You got to win that game in order to stay in the hunt. And then you got a great matchup in Week 16 against the Dolphins because if you beat the Dolphins, who are currently in the last playoff spot, you possibly jump the Dolphins and get into the playoffs. So you got a good opportunity there. And then you finish the week. You finish off with the Broncos, who is not an easy out, but definitely a game that you expect a playoff team to win. So you would hope that they would find the fire that they find when they play the Chiefs and beat the Broncos. So it's not all said and done for the Raiders. But again, it's the same old story with the Raiders. You know, do you do it when you're supposed to do it? And can you do it against anybody except the Chiefs? And apparently they cannot, because this was a big game for them. They had to play the Colts also fighting for playoff spots to win this game, like I said last week, and they just didn't do it. And Derek Carr, I do not fault anybody for saying maybe it's time to move past Derek Carr. They got Marcus Mariota sitting behind him right now. You know, some people may want Mariota to get a shot. I don't know.
I'll be honest with you. From what I hear, Raider Nation, they don't want nothing to do with Mariota. So we're not even going to talk about that right now.
Well, and that's fair enough because he didn't really do that much in Tennessee. And, you know, I don't think you can move past Derek Carr after this season, only because I don't think you're going to be in a draft position to where you can get a quarterback that you want. Especially with this odd year, you're not getting a lot of tape on quarterbacks this year. So unless you were in love with somebody from last year, there's nothing this year that's going to happen that's going to change your mind for some of these quarterbacks that you would get in like second, third, fourth round. So again, I think Derek Carr is your quarterback for next year as well. You got to hope that he just performs at the end of the season. You make the playoffs, and then maybe y'all build off of that into next year.
No, I definitely agree. And let's go ahead and move on to the next game. We got about 15 minutes left for this show to wrap up. And I want to talk about this game because this was probably the biggest upset of the night for the Saints versus the Eagles. And the Eagles, led by Jalen Hurts, took over this game. Not more so in the first half. I was more impressed with Jalen Hurts in the second half because he was able to adjust to the Saints bringing pressure on him. And with Dennis Allen being the defensive coordinator for the Saints, it was a matter of time that he was going to bring pressure because it's a first career start, right? So in any rookie quarterback, you want to see what they can do with pressure in their face. And I saw a touchdown throw that Jalen Hurts made, his first touchdown throw for the game, with somebody literally in his face and him getting hit, and Jalen Hurts still threw a perfect pass. Again, I do not want to make such a big deal out of this one game because I want to see consistency. I want to see you do it in the second game, third game, and we'll measure him after that. But from this first game, man, shout out to Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's the first game. I don't want to, you know, jump on a bandwagon too quickly. But he did perform, and I'm not gonna divulge too much. But I think going into our end of the year recap, we definitely have to talk for an extended period of time about this draft class of quarterbacks and how they perform this season, because this may go down as one of the best draft quarterback classes of all time. I mean, while not all of them got, you know, the win-loss, hop on the bandwagon. While not all of them got, like, you know, winning records, playoff teams, you have to say that all of them came out and performed way better than we expected most rookie quarterbacks to perform. I mean, from Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Tua, to now Jalen Hurts. I mean, these guys have come out and they have performed. They are definitely poised. They do not panic under pressure. Yep. He pulled this game out at the end, was able to lead them like a veteran would lead a team. And you gotta start asking questions, because to me, that offensive line looked different than when they were playing just like a matter of a couple of weeks ago.
And let's remember too, Jason Peters was out for this game. He was playing this whole season with Carson Wentz. This is a Hall of Fame lineman that I've heard nothing but complaints from Eagles fans saying that they don't have an offensive line. Okay, well, I mean, Jalen Hurts just played with the same offensive line that Carson Wentz was playing. I mean, so I'm just
like night and day. So, like I said, you've got to. The question has to be asked now: if you're a Philadelphia fan, were some of these players ready to move on from Carson Wentz?
Bingo. Now that is
look like a different team.
Exactly, and that's what as players we look at when it comes to football is how is everybody else playing around when that new quarterback comes in? Because Alshon Jeffries look completely different.
I mean,
you know, so It's not. It comes to a point in time where the players know what's up. The players know that, man, these coaches keep riding for this guy, knowing that we are all not better off. We are all better off with somebody else besides this guy. But y'all keep forcing this guy, knowing that he's not good. It reminds me of the Mariota situation in Tennessee. I was a big Mariota supporter, but it was just come to a time where you're not healthy, you're not producing. We have to move on, but because the city loves him so much, and the owner of the Tennessee Titans loved him so much, it was hard to rip that Band-Aid off. It might be the same way for Philadelphia. They're going to have to rip that Band-Aid off sooner or later and move on, because this is not 2017. It's not. All right, Lorenzo says Jalen Hurts should be the starter from now on. This isn't the first time that the entire Eagles team shut down under Carson Wentz. Nick Foles stepped in and brought life to this team twice, and now Jalen Hurts. Carson is a bust. He has one good year, and think the Eagles should consistently cater to him. At some point, you have to call a spade a spade. Shout out to you, Lorenzo, because that was a great. That was a great comment, because it is what it is. That's what it is. All right. Washington 49ers, go ahead and talk about this quickly. The Washington football team took care of business. Chase Young did some very remarkable Chase Young things as a rookie. Cannot wait to see what he does in his third and fifth year in the league. But we also cannot say and just go ahead and jump and pass a Jadeveon Clowney, past guys that has been, Aaron Donald, guys that's been in. That's all I'm saying. Like, let's wait and see how this guy progress. I think he's going to be a hell of a talent. I think he's going to be a hell of a guy moving forward for this organization moving forward. But let's also pump the brakes, because I hate when we try to compare guys when they've only played 10, 11, 12 games. But Chase Young, hey, man. Shout out to him. He had a hell of a game.
Yeah, I mean, like I've been saying, I was excited about this game because I have picked the football team to win the NFC East, and they have taken the lead now in the NFC East. And I think that they're ready. Although Alex Smith did get hurt, Dwayne Haskins had to step in. I haven't looked at the reports yet for this upcoming week and whether or not Alex Smith is going to be able to start again. Although Dwayne Haskins, like I said earlier in the season, was not playing completely poorly when they benched him. You got to kind of take a step back if Alex Smith isn't able to start, because I feel like Alex Smith's professionalism, his experience has been part of the reason that they've turned this around and started making the run that they have been making, and especially beating the Steelers. So, that's a concern for me moving forward. But yeah, great game by them. Great game by Chase Young. If he's able to do some of those things moving forward and keep harassing people, making some of these great plays, that only can help their cause to win the NFC East this year and make the playoffs, which if they make the playoffs, you got to hold your hands up and say, wow, what a great first year for Ron Rivera in Washington, because I don't think anybody expected that to happen, especially with all the drama of the name change, all that that was going on. So
I know, I 100% agree. And just moving forward, like you said, for everything that they were able to do with Alex Smith and also Ron Rivera and also the name change, hey, shout out to them, seriously. Falcons versus Chargers. This was a game, unfortunately, that it seems like for me, if I pick the Chargers, the Falcons are going to lose. If I pick the Falcons, the Chargers are going to win. So as we saw, we picked the Falcons and the Chargers won. But shout out to hopefully Anthony Lynn. This might hopefully help him keep his job. I doubt it, but we'll see. Ish, you got anything to say before we move on to the next game?
The only thing I have to say is, like you said, it might help Anthony Lynn in the long run. I doubt it as well. Raheem Morris, I'm sorry to say, I don't think he'll be getting that permanent job in Atlanta.
Ooh, yeah, we'll see. That was a game you're supposed to win, Raheem Morris. We'll see though. All right, Packers versus Lions. Aaron Rodgers, that bad man, took care of business against the other kitty cats of the North, the Detroit Lions, and it wasn't really too much to say about this game other than Aaron Rodgers is getting ready for the playoffs. And I will say this, because we talked about this in previous shows, and I was very interested to see who was going to come out of the NFC. And it looks like the playoffs on the NFC side might run through Lambeau. And if that is the case, hey, it's going to be very exciting to see some of these teams like the Buccaneers, like the Cardinals, have to come up to the north and play in the cold and see if they can handle these types of games, because Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he's built for this.
Yeah, I would agree. If the road runs through Lambeau, it makes it a little more interesting, but I don't think it makes it that interesting, only because fans still aren't coming to games. I feel like if the fans were there, then you really are kind of scared.
I mean, you're correct. No, you're correct, but I'm just more thinking about the weather.
Oh, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. It makes it a little more interesting because the weather situation, it will be Tom Brady, Gronk, some of those guys, they played in New England, right? So, like, for them, it's not going to be –
you're right. No, you're right. But I'm just saying, a lot of them folks been in Tampa for a while, so it's just a little bit different.
That's true. Same thing with the Saints. Saints, you're an indoor team having to go to Lambeau. That will be interesting. So it will be interesting moving forward, but not that interesting for the Lions. This game was more important for them to win, and they tried, but they just couldn't do it. Now they've got to find a way to beat the Titans, the Bucks, and the Vikings to make the playoffs, because they do have a shot, but they're going to have to win probably all three of those games to make the playoffs. And
Derrick Henry is not going to allow that to happen. We are not going to lose to the Lions, because if we do, I will unfortunately have to hear that for at least 2 or 3 months from my Detroit family. So that's not going to happen. All righty then, wrap it up for this week's game. Sunday Night Football, Steelers versus Bills. This is another great game that I talked about in the pre-show, saying that this was going to be a classic game. It ended up being that type of game. The performance Josh Allen put on, again, shout out to him, because there are still questions about, is Josh Allen a good quarterback? And again, I feel like he is the best quarterback of that draft class, and that's something we will talk about as well on our recap. We'll talk about not just last year's draft, but we'll also talk about 2016 quarterback draft class as well, because Josh Allen, man, I mean, every week he just if he hasn't impressed you by now, I don't know what you're watching, but Josh Allen has continued to impress week in and week out. And this is Buffalo's first win at home against Pittsburgh since 1999. So since we were 8-9 years old, this is the first time Buffalo has won. So again, this is the changing of the guard. This is what the Bills needed. This is what the Bills wanted to do moving forward, to show everybody that we are not the same. And I just want to give a shout out to the Bills before we wrap up this show.
Hey, big shout out to the Bills. If you're a Buffalo fan out there, here it is. Your time has come. You've been buying your time all these years behind the Patriots, watching them just dominate this division over and over and over again. You've finally taken charge. X, are you finally willing to concede that the Dolphins are going to be?
It is a 2-game. The Bills have a 2-game lead at the moment with 3 games left to go. And I will say that you have to stick a fork in the Dolphins. They are not going to win the division.
Buffalo, yeah, you've done it.
But I'm not apologizing for that Chiefs crap. Not doing it.
Buffalo, you've done it. You win the division. Josh Allen, he's your guy. You finally found him. So hopefully you guys
he's their new version of Jim Kelly. But honestly, I think he might be better.
Let me just say that little speech he had before the game.
Ooh, about Juju dancing on the field. Yeah.
Let him do all the talking. Let him do all the dancing. We're gonna work hard. We're gonna come out here. We're gonna win this game. Like, man,
that's the leader. That's the leader. That, again, when we talk about leaders, it's not everybody can't be Tom Brady. We don't want everybody to be Tom Brady, but you could be a leader in your own right, in your own way. It's about how you handle business, like a Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen. It's different. You can lead in different ways. It's just about taking care of business, right?
Yep. And they did that. So.
Alrighty then, I agree. All right, before we get up out of here, we're gonna go ahead and talk about these AFC playoff standings at the moment. Number 1 are the Chiefs at 12-1. Number 2, the Steelers at 11-2. 3, the Bills 10-3. The Titans are at number 4, 9-4. The Browns are at 5 at 9-4. The Colts are at 6 and 9-4, and the Dolphins are number 7 at 8-5. The NFC, the Packers are number 1 at the moment with 10-3. The Saints number 2 with 10-3. The Rams number 3 with 9-4. The Washington Football Team number 4 with 6-7. The Seahawks number 5 and 9-4. The Buccaneers number 6, 8-5, and the Cardinals at number 7, at 7-6. Is there anything you want to talk about right quick before we get up out of here?
Yeah,
AFC or NFC?
Put Sean's put Sean's comment up real quick.
I got you. Shout out to my boy Lee. He says, just a random question for that boy. Shout out to them Chiefs on the topic of the Packers. I had a conversation with X yesterday. He stated nobody would take the Packers running backs over the Chiefs backs, and I disagreed. If the Super Bowl were tomorrow, would you take Aaron Jones over Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Would you, not for the future, but those Packers backs as of right now more complete? As a fellow Chiefs fan, do you agree? Yes, me and my boy Lee, we talked about that. Yes.
First off, X, you didn't read that right. We know that you're not a Chiefs fan because you should have read that. Shout out to the Chiefs.
I did that. I just didn't do it the way that y'all want to do it, so I wasn't going to do it. So continue.
Anyway, I actually agree with him. I would take Aaron. I would take him over Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I would take Aaron Jones all day. Aaron Jones. If Aaron Jones was in the Chiefs offense, oh Lord, everybody should be really scared.
Can we say this? No. Can we say this though? Can we also say that their running backs are made for the Packers offense the same way the running backs for the Chiefs are made for the Chiefs offense? Because again, remember before the draft happened, Louis Riddick was talking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be this guy for the Chiefs. This is the greatest pick that the Chiefs has ever made. All you got to do is plug and play. This, that, and the third. So what are we talking about now?
I think that is moving forward. Like he said in his
now, yes.
We're talking about right now. We're talking about right now. Aaron Jones. Yeah, I'm putting Aaron Jones in there, and Aaron Jones will find a way to make some plays for us. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire moving forward is definitely that guy. You saw what he did in the first game, and I think that he will continue to get better and better in the Chiefs offense, and everybody should be scared the more he picks up in the league. Like, man, that offense right now, unless somebody decides they want more money and they're going to leave, like everybody should be scared of that offense moving forward the next couple of years. Because as Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets better and we get more and more of a rushing attack, like it's only going to get scarier for teams having to go against Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Sammy Watkins. You got Mecole Hardman. Dude, it's too deep right now.
No, I agree, Lorenzo. When they did have a former kicker, Kareem Hunt, I definitely do feel like he was a great for them.
Really?
Hey, Lorenzo said it, not me.
Nope, I'm done. In the show.
Alrighty then. So we will see you guys next week with Week 15 preview show on Sunday at 10 in the morning. And I appreciate you, Lorenzo, guy, for having that comedic relief at the end of the show. We really do appreciate that. So we'll see y'all next time on the Sports Plug with